Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Happilyheaven and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, what's going on? My name is Heaven. I make Christian content. I'm an author. I'm a woman of God. Today's video is going to be a little heavy, but before we get into that, please comment and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and guys, buckle up. Just a little bit of a trigger warning. There are going to be references to possible self-harm and mental health issues. So if this is an issue for you, if this is something that you're still working through in your healing journey, please take this as a warning and possibly click off if this is a touchy subject for you. But if you clicked on this title, you're going to see that the title of it is Surviving a Family Member with Mental Health Issues. The family member in question is my ex-stepfather. Him and my mother have divorced since then, and it has been a very troubling thing to think about. It's a very troubling topic to speak about because of the amount of, I'm just going to say it, demonic manifestation, an extremely heavy spiritual climate that I grew in. And as a child, I'm just going to preface, I have always gone to church. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I always have been. I've gotten baptized at 7. I've been in church since I was a child. But I'm going to be speaking about church and the effects of growing up around powerless Christians. When I'm powerless, I don't mean unknown or in the faith, but people who weren't able to cast demons out. And I understand that all mental health issues are not demonic. They could be chemical, they could be genetic. There are various different reasons why a person might be struggling. They might need healing, they might have gone through traumatic events. Understand that mental health is not all demonic. But in the case of my stepfather, it is. There is a lot to talk about with him as far as demonic covenants, him selling his soul, curses being spoken about him that have manifested, and the torment that I endured, my family and I endured as a child, because it wasn't just myself. This story, I pray that you all are sensitive to the events and how I speak about it, because this is a very hard topic for me to speak about, because I try my best to act like as if it didn't happen because of the severity of the circumstances. So with that being said, I want to start by saying that I am telling this story for him, my stepfather, Thomas. And I know he might never see this video. I know that even if he did see the video, he would not be in a mental state to actually absorb it. And it upsets me. I'm telling a story for my mother because this is still a very hard topic for her to speak about, let alone speak about and talk about and think about. So I'm doing it for my siblings. I'm doing it for myself. And definitely telling you guys from a perspective where I have all the pieces. Now that I'm an adult, I sit with the Lord about these things, and God has been able to heal me. So we're going to go back. This is around 2008, 2009. My stepfather is a very kind man himself, without the voices, without the paranoid schizophrenia, without the mental health issues. He was a very nice, kind man. He was about family values. He was a very family-oriented individual. He came from a large family. He was a breath of fresh air, and I know how happy my mom was when she got married to him, and how they both got married rather quickly because they wanted to pursue righteousness together. They didn't want to do things outside of the will of God as far as fornicating, so they got married within 6 months of meeting, and immediately it was my brother and I at the time, and we were about 5 and 4. I'm the oldest. So he just flocked to us. He let us call him dad. He never said stepdad. He never said, these are my stepchildren. He was very clear to other people that knew he didn't have children that my brother and I were his kids. He addressed us as his children as if we were his biological children. He had his family even treating us as their own, and they embraced us immediately. So he gave me a sense of family. My mother's side of the family is very small, and I don't know my father or his side of the family very well. So I found a family within him and stability, and I saw what it's like to have a husband and a wife in a home. So it definitely set the stage and a few expectations for me as far as being married. I did enjoy him while he was in his right frame of mind. He made us eat dinner at the table together. He made us go to church. put my brother and I in cheerleading and football, made sure that we were in gymnastics and different extracurricular activities. For him to be 20-something now, looking back, 20-something-year-old man taking care of children at work. He was a very kind and accommodating man, and he didn't just say he wanted to start a family of his own, but he just wanted to add to the family. So him and my mother ended up having 4 children within the course of this entire story. Just be sensitive that my mother was going through postpartum and having children and a lot of responsibility that she had to end up getting into before she realized what was going on. But in the midst of all of that, he was struggling with being a 20-something-year-old man. He was very vain. He enjoyed his self and his self-image a lot. My stepfather was very vain. He would just look in the mirror all day. He would have me look in the mirror and say, "You're so beautiful, you're so cute," and all types of stuff. And that wasn't derogatory to me. I didn't really feel any kind of way about it, but he was just a very vain person. He would say that stuff to himself. He wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to himself. So his looks mattered, his appearance and his image mattered to him a great deal. And this is important for the story. But he did struggle with drugs. He did struggle with pills. He did have an issue. And this is around 2008, 2009. So we're going from just pills to things becoming laced and people mixing stuff that people had never mixed before. And he was a party guy. So he did party drugs, and he was just a football guy, went to college in Miami. That was his thing. That was pretty much his identity. His looks, football, college in Miami. And that's pretty much it. That's really what's sat on the top. Instead of missing being a family man, that's really who he is in his core. So one night, I can remember it. It was September 30th. It was him and my mother's actually first year of being married. An anniversary. He had asked my mom, "Hey, I know it's our anniversary, but I want to go out with my friends." And she's just like, "Okay, it's our anniversary, but whatever, just be back." I remember being a kid, and I understood at that point, I was around 6, that I knew something was wrong with him going out. He was home every night. Dinner, bedtimes. He made sure everybody was taken care of. And he was just not home that night. And my mom got worried. And this is before cell phones were really a thing. So she was taking my brother and I to payphones across the city to go call him and call his friends. She was calling people, running out of corridors, walking across, looking for him because nobody knew where he was, looking for his family. Nobody knew where he was. And he left for days. I think it was about 3 days when he was with his friends. And my mom was worried. We were worried. We were calling hospitals, morgues, you name it. People were being caught left and right. He went missing. An adult, so they really don't take certain things as far as missing people report seriously because he's a grown man. But next thing that I remember was how we found him at the hospital. Finally, about 3 or 4 days later, we found him at a hospital, and he was in the psych ward. This is a man who works, who takes care of everybody. He's stable. Next time I see him, he's in a psych ward, and he has never been the same since that night. And as he came home, my mother's worried. She's trying to treat him like normal, but he's not acting right. He was staring off. He was mumbling to himself. He was just odd, and we have found out that he had actually got laced with angel dust. Once again, he was doing party drugs. He was most likely smoking weed with his friend. And I know the name of the friend. Oh, my goodness. And he smoked weed, and he got laced. It was by actually a lifelong friend. It wasn't like some guy he met off the street. He was also with another woman. At that time, he was being unfaithful to my mother during that time because of the drugs or because he wanted to. I'm not sure. But he was being unfaithful with this woman who was giving him these lace drugs. Mental health issues does run on his family. So he's already genetically predisposed to certain things that he was not dealing with. But now something about those chemicals did not mix with him. And he has been diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic ever since that night, those few nights, I should say. The odd thing that was happening in the background, that's the forefront of the story, but in the background on it, it was a lot of spiritual components going around. First, he made an oath to God that he would never do drugs again. He told God, I do not want to do drugs. I want to be a family man. This is not something that I want anymore. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. That's strike one. Strike two, another family member of mine put a curse on him, like an actual curse that said, I don't want him to die, but I want him to lose his mind. All because they were jealous of my mother's marriage and the fact that she had distanced herself to start her own family. My mother just had my brother. He was a few months old when all of this happened. Sorry, this is a little difficult. I just had my brother and I was just turned 7 years old. Strike three. This is the part where I talk about powerless Christians and surviving a family member with mental health issues, as well as a family member being plagued by demonic attacks and evil spirits. He came back muttering, talking to the smoke alarm system, to the TV. He was very paranoid, thinking that the world was going to ending and that people were going to get him. He would see snakes. He would hear people speaking to him. And my mom did not know what was going on. She has 3 children now, freshly postpartum. She doesn't know what's going on. She's in her early 20s. She's just like, what's happening to my husband? She's caring for him the best she can. He's drooling from the medication. And really nobody is telling her anything about this man. She's in the dark about most of it. And she's just trying her hardest to just rough it out just so he could get better. In the midst of that, T had instructed, this is what we call him, T, had told us in the midst of all of the muttering and whatnot that he sold his soul. He got high and he saw a vision of him speaking with Ludacris. Y'all, this is 2009. You was that man. But he sold his soul to Ludacris in a dream. And Ludacris told him that if you want to keep your looks, if you want to look the same way, if you want to keep your vanity, you have to give me your soul. Stop serving God and give me your soul. This is very important because he was in school to be a pastor. He was actually going to go be a minister. You see this temptation happening with Jesus as well in the wilderness when he's fasted. He got tempted by Satan and he was offered things that Jesus already had, kingdoms and people and bread and angels, things that are at his own command because Jesus is God. However, Satan still offered it. And the offer that Thomas took was to keep his looks. And he said he sold his soul. So in the midst of the drooling, the talking to things, to being erratic, to being paranoid, he revealed this to us. So these are 3 instances. 1, you broke an oath to God. 2, there was a curse initiated. And 3, he sold his soul, meaning he gave over himself. He gave over his mind, his will, and his emotions in exchange for his looks. My mother was with him for another 4-5 years, and his condition just got worse. There was an instance where she was praying with him, and this still bothers her to this day, so I'm not going to go more into it because this is a very sensitive topic for her. But she was praying for him, and started actually manifesting as a demon. His head almost spun around like something out of a movie, guys. His head nearly spun around. And he told her in this voice that sounded like a demon from the pits of hell, I am going to kill you. And she ran. Nobody told her anything about spiritual warfare. Now, this woman had been in church for about a decade since she was a teenager. But in the tenure of this decade, nobody told her anything about spiritual warfare, demons, manifestation of demons, how to actually get rid of demons, selling, anything like that. Free will, how strong the free will is, the legal rights, things like that, that he pretty much sealed his soul. He sealed his free will over to the powers of darkness. And so the devil had a big legal right in his life because his good mind, he gave himself over to the devil knowingly, broke oaths with God, and had curses on him. So the legal right was wide open, and her trying to remove the right got her into a bit of trouble, and he chased her on all 4s around an apartment complex, just on all 4s, foaming at the mouth, shaking, like something that you see out of a movie. He was doing this, tormenting her. And to this day, that's a very hard thing. And I've seen that the hit that it took to her faith. I see the hit that it took to her trusting God. I see the hit that it took to her ability to go deeper into the things of It comes to breaking demonic things, manifestation of evil that night, hurt her, because she did not understand why the prayers didn't work. She did not understand why the Bible did not work. She did not understand that when somebody has legal rights, they give their legal rights over to Satan. There's virtually not much you can do when that person chose it. It's one thing for a person to have open doors that come in through trauma and different instances like that. But when somebody sells themselves and their mind is overrun and their free will is trampled upon in the way that my ex-stepfather's is trampled upon to this day, there is nothing but fasting. There's protocols that go into that kind of saving rescue mission. There are protocols that go into it. It's when somebody gives their free will away. Saying that you cannot be healed, not saying that God cannot deliver you, but you have to have a conscience. You have to have control. You have to have free will to say yes and no. And he does not have that, guys. I just want to tell you, he does not have the capacity to get out. He does not have a time, even to this day, for the past 17 years of him going through this. He has not had one day that he has not been tormented by demonic spirits, being chased, being sexually assaulted by demons, being R-word in his sleep by demons. He has been tormented. He has been tortured. And in turn, those demons have tormented and tortured us. And for 5 years, that's what happened. Church calling for exorcists, and exorcists are running out of our house, calling the psych ward, calling Ancora. And guess what? Nobody helps. Nobody comes to get him except when he's a danger to himself or other people. And he was a danger to himself. I share in the suffering with those who are dealing with family with mental health issues, or dealing with the pain and the torment and the turmoil that comes with loving somebody whose mind genuinely cannot see past their circumstances, somebody who cannot come up for air, somebody who is suffering while you're suffering. While you're going piece by piece, they get the attention on Christmas. They get the attention on Thanksgiving. Every holiday, it seems that these get worse. And year after year, enduring abuse, enduring soul-shattering moments. You have to deal with these people because they're family. And I was a child while all of this was happening, being sexually assaulted, being tormented by him, putting on the weight of being the oldest girl of 6 children, being put on the weight of depression, of unaliving myself, having my own thoughts, of thinking that I was insane. Those demons are evil. They have a way of transferring certain thoughts and certain atmospheres that can make you not even want to live anymore. So when people are dealing with mental health issues, it hurts because there's a mindset. There is a spirit, there is an atmosphere that there will never be help or relief for that person, not even yourself. The family suffers greatly. You watch your family member get put on a new medication and they're not even conscious. They get taken off one medication and now they won't sleep, that they're running around the house chasing you with weapons, that they're keeping you and your family up all night yelling and screaming and banging. You're hiding in different parts of the house, trying to get away, crying in closets, crying under beds, going to school with bags under my eyes because I was up all night listening to this man accuse my mother of being unfaithful. And she's defending herself pregnant. I understand what it's like, and that there is a possibility for healing. There's a possibility for deliverance. There's a possibility for restoration. God can do all things, but this is why my heart for spiritual warfare is so large, because I understand the defeat. I understand what sitting with these spirits does. I understand the long-term effects of sitting with a person with mental health issues, and it makes you feel crazy. He went from being the source of stability to being the source of immense torment. He couldn't be in one house, so we had two. One time, we had 2 apartments, and they were not close. They were about 2 hours away from each other by bus. We didn't have a car. We had a bus, and we would drive. We would all walk to the bus station. If you're from Atlantic City, if you're from New Jersey, put this in. We will walk from Atlantic Boulevard, Absecon Boulevard, to the train station, take the train, an hour and a half train to Lindenwold. That's about a long ways away. Completely different set of living. Walk 30 minutes just to get to the house. You have to take the train, then take the bus to the bus stop, then walk 30 minutes from the bus stop to the apartment. And we did that multiple times a week. Watching him eat raw chicken because guys, I've seen a lot. And very hard because there's so much stuff that happened, but I had so much resentment. I could be honest, if I could just get this off my chest. I had so much resentment for the church. I had so much resentment for pastors and ministers who said, if you pay, then this won't happen anymore. If you give the money away, this is not going to happen anymore. And we have a single mother who's providing things. Right now, she has to work. Now we're being left with people who are hurting us. Now she's trying to pay her way out of torment. And the gifts of God are free, crying out for help. People aren't helping you. Nobody's there to pray. Nobody's telling you what deliverance is or casting a demon out is. Nobody is saying anything. Nobody's helping the situation. Nobody's helping us when we're crying. Nobody's helping us when we feel like unaliving ourselves. Nobody is helping us. And when my mom finally left him, it was because he said that I had R-word him. I was 11. He was looking at me crazy one day. And my mom asked, why is he looking at me that certain way? And he said, because heaven took me upstairs and R-word me. A grown man said that I did that to him. A demon was using my face. We've been chased with knives. I think I was going to get to this. If you are with powerless Christians, I can speak this as a former child. Your child's salvation is on the line. If you're in unhealthy, toxic situations and you're looking for God to put the Band-Aid on things, child salvation is on the line. It's okay to not want to get divorced, but you have to separate and get help from afar. That these family members can cause is damaging. It's actually soul shattering. The permanent, long-term effects. I used to be scared because I thought I was crazy. He's on multiple occasions tried to unalive us in front of us. There was a time we came back and there was just blood everywhere because he had cut himself open and left blood all over the house. Dealing with a family with mental health issues can leave deep wounds to the soul. It can taint your idea of reality. And the rage and the torment that I felt up until pretty recently, I'm talking about just about 3 years ago, the hidden rage that I masked up with drugs and alcohol and partying and being promiscuous, I just recently got healed. And God is healing me from this instance through even me telling this story, because the severity of the soul wounds I understand. If you are somebody who is going through taking care of a family member with mental health issues, you're suffering with pain and isolation and torment, you feel powerless, if you feel like your voice has been taken, if you feel like every special moment that you get, even in the future, every special moment that you get is always about them, their medicine, their therapy, their hospitals. And when they actually do go to the psych ward, life is actually fantastic. I had some of the best times with my mother when he went to the psych ward. More than you can understand. And for anybody going through this or have gone through this, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I'm so sorry that you have to put up with this. And I pray that the Lord heals you from the inside out. I pray that your soul is restored. I pray that God just covers you in his feathers and that he heals you from your innermost parts. You're not crazy. You're not insane. You're not unwanted. You're not unstable. You're not lonely. You're not powerless. Your voice has not been taken. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are the righteousness of Christ Jesus. And who the Son sets free is free indeed. And you, my dear, are free. You're not alone. It was so hard for me to make friends because nobody was dealing with what I went through. Nobody knew what it's like to go to the psych ward after school. Nobody knew what it was like to not be able to do things or have sleepovers because your stepdad is embarrass you or do something to. I'm going to wrap this video up because this is becoming very painful to speak about. But if you're somebody who has dealt with this in the past, if you're somebody who has dealt with family members like this, I'm so sorry. I feel for you. I love you. You're not in this alone. I pray that you take this to the Lord, our God, Jesus Christ, God our Father, the God of comfort. I just read that today in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. Is the God of all comfort, and that we share in the suffering in Christ. But comfort may be abound in us. And if it's for your consolation that I suffer, so be it. This video was a heavy one to make. I didn't think it would be like this. But thank you for everybody who's watching so far. And I pray that I do pray that God brings healing to the listeners. So until next time, guys, I pray that the Lord keeps you, He guides you, He blesses you in all things. Happy New Year.